Greetings, my name is Jed Shlackman. I work as a holistic counselor, spiritual energy healer, and hypnotherapist, and I'm also an author. And for this video, I'll be reading a chapter from my book, Consciousness, Creation, and Existence, A Guide to the Grand Adventure. You can find the book on Amazon. It's available in both hard copy and ebook formats. We're going to read now from chapter 3, and at the beginning of the chapter there is a quote from the Handbook for the New Paradigm, Volume 2. This quote states, "At the center of your experience is the awareness that you are, that you exist. This awareness is separate and apart from your body and your brain." Perspectives of Spirit. Meanwhile, returning to my own experience of exploration, which brought me to the ideas in this book, I explored numerous metaphysical writings and channeled sources, even attending regular group sessions with a medium in Hollywood, Florida, which I continued with for about 2 years, including the sessions he channeled over a private internet multimedia chat room. A variety of entities spoke through the medium, some claiming to be beings such as Merlin, Saint Germain, Miriam, mother of Yeshua, Eastern yogis, Sun Bear and a Native American chief, Usui, the originator of the Reiki healing system that I had previously learned, Milton Erickson, a renowned hypnotherapist, and even some angelic beings, nature spirits, and ETs. There were a variety of topics discussed by these personas and various teachings of exercises and techniques to aid in spiritual development and enhancing psychic abilities. Yet there were things about the group and the channeling phenomenon that I became dissatisfied with, one being that I was convinced that spirits were often just playing the part of a character familiar to the audience and were not necessarily as enlightened as the group members believed. They could read one's energy and give useful advice or healing assistance at times, but were not faultless sources of guidance. I felt that I needed to trust in myself more and not live by the whims of these spirits who seemed to have difficulty maintaining reliability with temporal schedules and sometimes shared supposed facts related to third density reality on Earth that just didn't match with what could be documented or what actually transpired. Sometimes purported ET entities spoke through the medium, and the other spirits that came through expressed disagreement with some philosophies of the ETs. The channeling raised as many questions as it answered. Over time, I have concluded that there is a wide variety of awareness and intentions present among spirit plane entities, just as there is among spirits immersed in physical bodies for an incarnation. Just because a medium is benevolent doesn't mean that they can't channel misleading spirits. Just as benevolent human personalities are often used to mislead others by clever human con artists. So this has been my experience and is one of many experiences and influences that have contributed in leading me to this writing project. I don't accept channeled input as gospel, though I do find that there are some very illuminating ideas presented from spirit plane beings whose view of reality is not restricted by physical sensory filters. Experience is by nature subjective. Furthermore, there is at a certain level no separation between the experiencer and the reality being experienced. In scientific research, it has been recognized that an observer or experimenter potentially influences the experiment being conducted. This influence may have nothing to do with any action of the researcher, but rather is likely to be an effect of the thoughts and intentions maintained by the persons involved. This phenomenon appears only in a limited way because we only observe things at the surface of reality. From a deeper level of awareness, it can be recognized that consciousness underlies all observed reality and is always creating and shaping reality through the process that you will see outlined in this book. The observer and that which is observed are roles generated within the source for experience to occur. There is a level of being that is beyond the observer, a level of unified consciousness where there is nothing to produce separation and no observer or reality to be experienced. At that level there is only one self, which hasn't realized itself as self because it hasn't experienced any other or any experience of reality external to self. It is in that state a no one, for it hasn't explored its existence yet. It must traverse and experience the infinity within itself to transform its state of awareness from no one, that's N-O-O-N-E, to no one, K-N-O-W-O-N-E. But those experiential layers of reality do exist, so the experiences they generate allow that source self to become fully realized in its selfhood. The void of potentiality projects its awareness into all those imaginary potentials to realize itself as the all, the one, and none. One from none. For it carries the endless cycle from the self with no experience of creation to the self with awareness of all creation. So zero explores infinity to know itself as one. Meditate upon that apparent paradox for a while. Meanwhile, our technology mirrors this as computers use a binary code of zeros and ones to process information. Everything lies within the matrix of the source, exploring all aspects of creation and existence, ranging from the void of nothingness, zero, to all possibilities within itself, infinity, to all integrated into the source, one. The late physicist David Bohm referred to an implicate order where all potentials exist in a unified field and nothing is separate from anything else, since all arise from the implicate order. Modern chaos theory proposes that everything is interconnected and one small change in a system can have a ripple effect throughout perceived reality, leading to unforeseen consequences. Physics is merely recovering or reviving ideas held for millennia by mystics and shamans about the nature of reality. If you logically consider the nature of vibrational reality, you will recognize that there is no meaningful reality without an observer giving patterns of vibration a meaning within the information processing system of the observer. Think of all the different frequencies used by modern technologies: cell phone, microwave, infrared, ultraviolet, wireless networks, radio and television broadcast frequencies, radar, etc. How many of those signals would have any meaning to you without a technological device to receive and translate them into something for you to observe with your sensory inputs? The vast majority of vibrational frequencies are meaningless to your human forms of perception They exist, but they don't fit into the reality that's generated through human filtering mechanisms. Therefore, there is always just one field of an infinite expanse of vibratory patterns, and the meaning and thus the reality of those patterns is always relative to the perspective and filtering and interpretation processes of any point of awareness within the one field observing the other frequencies within its range of awareness. This is the reason why many mystics proclaim that reality is an illusion. Since the reality in any individual's mind is just based upon the meaning that individual gives to a limited range of vibrational information within the one totality, no one ever perceives the nature of the creation independent of their own relative viewpoint. The study of metaphysics typically involves learning to understand the meaningful and coherent system by which vibrational energies are created and transformed, and by which consciousness assigns meaning to these vibrations. The way in which meaning is assigned to vibrational energy patterns is not random, so even though there are variations in perspective, there are also commonalities that allow different points of awareness to play together and communicate with one another. Readers of this book look at the words and see the same letters and generally interpret the words the same way since they've learned the English language. Thus they have a common way of filtering this data, just as people who read French or Russian or Japanese can filter books written in the languages they have learned. On a species-wide level, nearly all people see color in pretty much the same way and sense foods being sweet, sour, salty, and bitter in common ways. If our interpretation of vibrational input was completely random, we couldn't have a context in which to communicate and learn. This concludes Chapter 3. Again, the title of the book is Consciousness, Creation, and Existence, A Guide to the Grand Adventure. For those interested in spirituality and holistic healing, I invite you to visit my website, phinsights.com. That's phinsights.com. For now, I wish each of you a wonderful day. Namaste.